Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Steve Kinney. I'm a producer and engineer. Thanks for clicking on this video, which is part of a multi-part series on Luna Basics, where we cover everything from getting your session started all the way through to mixdown. Now in this video, which is part 5, we're going to be taking a look at the very basics and essential steps that you're going to take when you start to automate your mix. Or of course, if you're automating a MIDI instrument as well. Now, timestamps are available for this video, so feel free to skip around if you'd like. All I ask is that you leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment below. Let me know you were here. So in 1974, API introduced the first computer programmable console that had automation. This changed the course of consoles going forward and led to some really incredible developments from SSL and Neve. Of course, that's why they're so famous and sought after today. So historically speaking, automation dates back all the way to the 70s, so it's widely used in music production, so it's best that you know how to use it inside of Luna. Now, most of these automation states come from consoles and the workflow on a console, so it's no surprise that their names and their nomenclature for those automation states pretty much the same thing that you'd find on a console. It's also going to be what you'd find in pretty much every DAW, so it's not like there's anything very different here, but again, this is a new DAW, so let's take a look at how we would actually engage automation and interact with automation. Now, if you've been following along in parts 1 through 4, you know about the different workflows inside of Luna. This is one of those features that is kind of outside of the workflows. It can be engaged at any point in time, and it's accessible both from the timeline and the mixer. So let's check this out. So inside our timeline here, we have our different tracks, our different buses, and right on the tracks and right on the buses, I have the ability to change my automation mode. If I look at my track here, I've got a couple subheadings. I've got view, auto, mode, and warp. Of course, we're going to be interacting with the auto or automation subheading. And if I click on auto, where it says read here, it's going to drop down a menu. And I have the ability to turn off automation. And then of course I have read, touch, latch, and trim. Now let's head over to the mixer and take a look at automation there. So in our mixer here, we'll have our faders, we have solo, mute, spill, arm. Just above our pan knobs, we have that very same menu, and if I click it, it drops down with the same list. Finally, similarly to other DAWs, you do have the ability to manually paint or draw in your automation parameters that you want to create. So in order to do that, we need to be in a different view on our track. So let's go back to the timeline, and we've got our bass track selected here. And just under the bass heading, we have a subheading that says view. So if I click that, now it's going to list all of the different parameters that I can manually create automation for. So if I click on volume, you can see that now in the track it shows a line for volume. If I click on pan, that changes just a little bit to the center, and I can pan it left and right. If I want to add a point, you just double click. And the cool part is that if you have snap enabled, just like everything else in Luna, if I have the snap function enabled and I add a point, it's going to snap to whatever grid I have selected. And of course, if I want to delete it, I just highlight and hit the delete button. So now let's talk about the different automation states and what they do. If I click this drop down again, we'll take a look at them. We have off, obviously that's going to not play back or read any of the automation that you have written. I could see this being useful if you're creating a new version of the session. You just want to completely start from a blank slate, but you don't want to commit to deleting all of the automation that you have just yet. Then of course there's the read state. The read state is just going to read whatever automation that you have written in. Next we have the touch automation state. So touch automation captures parameter changes in real time, and once you're done with that parameter change, it brings that parameter back to the original starting point. So let's take an example using the fader on the bass track. So let's put it into touch. We'll also solo this out real quick. So let's just listen to this bass. All right, cool. Let's put this back into read mode, and let's change our view to volume. Okay, cool. So now you can see where it captured the fader performance, and then as soon as I let go of the fader, it reverted the fader to its original position. Next, let's take a look at the latch function. Latch automation is similar to touch automation, so any changes that you make as the song's playing, it's going to capture that, but as soon as you let go of that parameter, it's going to keep that parameter wherever you leave it. So let's use our bass track as another example here. We've got it in latch mode, and if I change this, you can see that it's writing that data. And then as soon as I stop the performance, it writes that data in. All right, and finally we have trim automation. The trim function is kind of misunderstood, but it's pretty simple. As all of your parameter changes happen and all of your automation is written, the trim tool allows you to just pull the volume up or down overall. And its use case would be if you add a different plugin that jumps the volume up a bit. If you don't want to commit to making an actual fader adjustment and write that data in, you could just put your track into trim mode and then pull the fader down a little bit to wherever you think the balance is best. Now, one final thought here, it's good to always keep in mind that if you have latch enabled or touch enabled, it's always going to be working. So if you accidentally change a parameter and have that engaged, it's going to be capturing that parameter change. So the best practice is, if you're done with writing automation, put the track back into read mode. Now in this case, I don't want this automation on this bass, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete it. Now let's talk about control surface support. But before we do, if you've made it this far into the video and you're new to the Apollo platform, check out my new Heritage Classics Sessions pack. It's got over 30 presets to get your session up and running smoothly. It's a great way to learn signal chains that get the most from your Apollo. It's also a great way to support the channel, and this helps me make more content for you guys watching right now. So I really appreciate any support that you throw my way. Okay, back to the video. So recently, SSL has put out the UF8, and it is absolutely awesome. I can't wait to get my hands on one of them, but I'm personally holding off right now because Luna doesn't even have control surface support yet. Now, I made another video about Luna and why I wasn't ready to switch to Luna. Of course, since then, they've made a lot of awesome changes, and I have made the switch. I think this thing sounds absolutely awesome, and it's incredibly creative. I have been missing the ability to use my control surface. However, if you've been following along with the office hours videos, which I highly recommend that you watch if you can, they're over on Universal Audio's channel, and they usually just live stream and spend a couple hours talking about Luna. Sometimes they preview new features, sometimes they talk about what they're doing with the program, and there's a ton of helpful information on those videos. But in one of the videos, they did show that they are working on control surface support. They haven't announced when it's coming to Luna, but they have claimed that it's coming to Luna very soon. And of course, in this video, they show that it's working under MCU protocol, so that's pretty cool. It can't come soon enough for me. I am a huge analog workflow guy, at least when it comes to mixing. It's so handy for me to be able to grab a fader and just kind of ride a fader or write automation that way rather than clicking with my mouse. Recently, I've been having problems with the Apple mouse dropping connection, so that would be a nightmare if it drops connection as I'm writing automation. I don't want to deal with that. So again, can't come soon enough. And of course, with the UF8 and its particular software that comes with it, I'm sure that plugin control is going to be really cool, but again, this is just my speculation. Either way, I'm really excited for what the future holds for Luna with respect to control surfaces. So now that we've covered the essential steps of how to automate inside of Luna, you might be ready for a mix down on your mix. So if that's the case, check out part 4 where we covered how to export your track and go through that phase. And if you want to dive a little bit further into Luna, check out part 6 where we deep dive headphone mixes and cue outputs. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment below, let me know you stopped by, and subscribe to my channel for more on Luna and UAD plugins. If you'd like to work with me directly, you can reach out to me on Instagram at @TheSteveKinney. To support the channel further, go to thestevekinney.com where I have the Console Classics and Heritage Classics packs, which are available right now. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next video.